Another Saturday, another great round of Disney TVA goodness. Seriously, throughout all of the madness going on in the world, regaining these wonderful animated worlds to explore for about an hour cumulatively without commercials, just for a little while before embarking back into hell, giving us something to just look forward to consistently. It's lovely. And of course, as we're talking about Amphibia, I do want to send some genuine love to the team, as apparently it was a miracle to get these episodes to us. Which, considering everything going on, yeah, I think I understand. Of course, I have a few things to say about Season 2, Episode 2, The Ballad of Hopediah Plantar, and Anhunter. And of course, they're all great things. In terms of character development and lore, this episode gave us the discovery that Hop Pop has developed an ego after the revelations of Reunion, which immediately makes me wonder, was his ego simply put to bed by the end of this episode, or could it persist, although he's working on it? And if so, how will this accumulate? Could we have a moment where the influence of Hop Pop's newfound reputation could be the thing where, if gone unchecked, would lead to very negative ramifications? Namely, if Hop Pop ascended to hero status because of his morals and his judgment, will he let Anne return home through the means of the Calamity box, or demand another way? And that if there isn't any other way, maybe Anne would have to get used to Amphibia for a lot longer than she ever expected.
All right, HP, I trust your judgment.
This episode also hits up the very first town they encounter outside of Wartwood in the valley, Bittyburg, which is said to be an average small town by Hop Hop. Literally. So we can imagine that in the grand scheme of Amphibia, none of this was all too special. But if you ask me, every small town is special because they're so gosh darn cute and vicious. I loved these tiny town residents. They were so cute. I believe this one is a reference to this and I laughed really hard. I would not mind seeing these adorable critters again. This episode also introduced us to some villains. The Ruthless Hasselback Gang. Which, and I know I've been saying this a lot about Season 2, is because realistically, I need to watch more anime and movies and, well, everything, but it gave me One Piece vibes. In general, though, I love antagonist groups, and the Hasselback family had really great, varied designs. Judro Hasselback, his brother Hethro, his half-sister Ruth, his uncle Talbert, and the one who wears the crown, Mama Hasselback. To me, they felt like they're to Bittyburg what the toads are to the frogs in the valley. Right down to bullying them around and forcing them to pay up. It felt like the Hasselbacks projecting onto these tiny frogs the unfair treatment that all frogs receive from toads. Hop Pop's arc in this episode is amazing, just because it's something that we get in cartoons, but we're definitely getting a lot more of now in shows like Gravity Falls or Steven Universe, something that I just find refreshing, seeing the adult characters go through conflicts where they're in the wrong and have to recognize their mistakes without it being the dumb character or the oblivious character, the stereotypical dad character. I'm talking about an actual issue that anyone can be guilty of at any age. And let me tell you, developing a bit of an ego, being a little bit too boastful, and even more so, biting off more than you can chew but thinking you can handle it on your own, those are very real things that you can encounter from a sudden influx of attention that you're not used to. It is something you had to confront and grow out of. Obviously, Hop Pop is an adult, and thus is a lot more impactful having a full-blown adult, a straight-up grandfather, caught up in the error of his own ways and being forced to acknowledge that, because in real life, old people, they don't want to do that. It's hush your mouth and respect your elders, even if they're blatantly rude. Overall, the comedy in this segment was incredible. Like, this show truly just gets better and better. And we have the robot that emerged from the factory, spotted on a path that we can only assume leads to Nitopia. Is the robot following the planters, or a coincidental, predetermined path? If it is following the planners, is it programmed to pursue the planners? Is it programmed to pursue humans? And thus is in the pursuit of Anne? I noticed that the robot has remarkable shoulder pads. It makes me think that this robot could have been built for combat. perhaps a soldier for a war. It makes you think, was Amphibia preparing for a war? Could this have something to do with the newts? Obviously, this robot one way or another will probably tie to Newtopia, considering they're clearly building up to some kind of payoff within this particular On the Road story. But I got a little bit more on the frog later as we enter Ant Hunter. Immediate thing I want to touch on, Ant's Daydream. It felt Gravity Falls-ish with the muted background, which any Gravity Falls fan would recognize from the Mindscape and whenever Bill Cipher was interacting with a character prior to Weirdmageddon. Ant's era, which was also in the promos and trailer for this season, of course had a blue glow, which appears to tie into Ant's consistent association with the color of a light blue, which we believe is tied to the Calamity box and potential Calamity powers abilities that are passed on to Ant when her physical body was transported to Amphibia. The design of the Scorplio was incredible. This season so far continues to be an absolute flex, and it makes sense. Hop said venturing outside the valley would be dangerous. Narratively, that was a promise. So I'm really excited to see any more potential crazy creatures that pop up along the way. Definitely gives me those Zelda Monster Hunter vibes. I'm seriously falling more in love with this show with each and every segment. Something else worth noting, Ant's hallucinations of Sprig. It's likely chalked up to be a stress-induced hallucination, but it radiates that light blue glow. Of course, this concept of a floating ghostly hallucination is a normal cartoon antic. In any context, it's not out of left field because it's a comedy cartoon on Disney Channel. That's the kind of absurd humor you would find. But within the context of Amphibia and the mysterious lore thus far, is this another result of Ant inheriting whatever mysterious power from the Calamity box? These colors are visual consistency, and the Sprig hallucination wasn't spouting mumbo jumbo. He gave Ant wisdom, and no one else can see the hallucination? Yeah, it makes sense because it's a hallucination, but it would also make sense as an ability inherited from the Calamity box, because again, as Ant correlates to the blue gem, it would make sense she would have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Yugi Feral connection with it. Just food for thought. All in all, I love these kind of episodes with Ant, and I'm assuming this will be something with season 2 as a whole, since what I'm about to point out was also present in the premiere, but we really see Ant's growth and her improvement as a character. She was a bit superficial in season 1, largely in part due to her social influences, Sasha and Marcy, but her situation in Amphibia caused her to change as a person. Even here, she still makes some comedic remarks like, "I'll save you, but only because I like you guys," which as an audience, we're not going to think about, we're just going to perceive it as a joke, but it is a line that really shows that growth while reminding us where she began. It's the little things, not making everything a big event. The Warriors' dance and song was low-key a bop. The expressions were great. It was a great example of how Ant's growing. She grew just in finding her resolve in this episode. Also, this episode ends with another Robo-Stinger. The robot keeps running into trees. Not the sharpest. This is a great way to keep the episode serialized without excluding the audience as a whole. But you know why I think they gave us this comedic sting? Well, I have a new theory. This robot isn't a foe. If Amphibia is already displaying that he's a little bit clumsy, having us laugh at him and having his character associated with the comedic aspects of the show, then maybe he's a friend. Would it be that out of left field? You know, shows can add another main character in the second or third season. You know, at some point they just add another character, but not like a new recurring character, not a supporting character, no, someone you see in pretty much every episode going forward. Could this robot be that to Amphibia? I think I would love it, I'm not gonna lie. The stinger of the robot bumping into the trees could have also been a reference to The Simpsons, with Sideshow Bob stepping on the rakes. Next week we have Truck Stop Polly and a caravan named Desire, where, feeling underappreciated, Polly hatches a plan to make the family pay attention to her, and Hop signs the family up to join the theater, hoping to realize his dream of being an actor. I'm excited for some Polly development, and a caravan named Desire being another Hop episode, oh my goodness. Although season 1 was very character driven, I'm glad they're taking this time during the journey to Newtopia to really round out our main 4. Though I cannot lie, my excitement really lies for episode 4, Coraller's Pass and Toadcatcher, namely for Toadcatcher, where Sasha and Grime must reconcile, because I'm hoping that's where the battle between Sasha and that newt transpires. So excited for Wolverine. But as always, these are just my thoughts and I want to hear yours. What do you think? Did you enjoy this episode? What takeaways and theories do you have? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below or tweet your thoughts at Roundtable Vids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at OstricFox. We're also on Instagram. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. OstricFox, signing out.